In this video, we're going to talk about your family. We're also going to talk about reincarnation in the soul. Uh, I don't know if we can understand it or not, but our family and our upbringing and our spiritual development have a lot to do with one another. And if we don't get these things in order and into understanding, then we tend to really struggle along the spiritual journey because we're trying to match our family's energy and match who we are as a spiritual being. And 10 times out of 10, right? I can almost guarantee you that your family, your mom and your dad, even if your mom and dad is a great spiritual healer, um, is not in alignment with who you are as a soul. No matter how much he or she tries to control you and manipulate you and tell you what to do, how to do it, their advice is the best advice for you. They love you the most because they're your mother, because they're your father. That is 150% cap. The only person or thing or place or entity or energy that has your best interest in mind is your soul. So when you begin spiritual development, it's not, I hope my mom can understand what I'm talking about now. I hope my father finally understands me. Peace, Phil. What up with it? We have to get to a point that whether or not your family understand what you're talking about, as long as you understand what you are talking about, as long as you are in communication with your soul, that's the very important thing. So communicating with your soul is not as easy as it looks like or as it sounds, because the moment that you think you're communicating with your soul, you're communicating with your ego thoughts. You're communicating with your compulsions, you're communicating with your addictions, you're communicating with your humanity. And therefore, if it has an ankh, if it has a large following, if it, you know, makes you feel good, then that is your guidance. Once again, 100% crash out. The only thing that I can lead you to is your soul. From there, you will have to continue to be led. It ain't no hood mystic told me to do nothing. I didn't ever tell you to do anything but listen to your soul. Peace. Peace, Rose. How are y'all this morning? Peace to the chat. Peace to the tribe. Peace to the collective. Today we're reading from page 30. I'm really feeling this book right now. The Vortex by Abraham Hicks. We're going to be reading Flawed Premise 5 and Flawed Premise 6. And we're reading from page 30 and 31. And I think I'm going to read a little bit of page 32. So the purpose of these videos is to really get our minds centered spiritually, centered on our soul. We don't know what this day can hold for us. You know, I'm sending healing energy, positive light, and hopefully we all can send positive light to the family and friends of Jamie Foxx, because they need it. And I say that to say that, you know, we never know what's going to happen from day to day. So my goal is to always start my day off spiritually, but I realize that sharing is a very important facet to my life. And if I can start my day off spiritually and I can start my day off sharing, then already I'm having a good day. Ashe? So here we go. How do we harmonize a diverse family? Jerry asks. Regarding the family relationships between parents, children, how can we independently think? How can an independently thinking, leading edge child who is learning. Give me a second. Interesting. Oh, there we go. How can an independently thinking leading edge child who is learning and growing exist in harmony with parents who want to train him in their static way of thinking and behaving? In other words, what if your parents don't want to see change or new thought? This leads us, this is Abraham speaking. This leads us to the explanation of yet another flawed premise. Flawed premise number 5. Because I am older than you, I am wiser than you, and therefore you should allow me to guide you. This is Caparini and cheese. This is why when people say respect your elders, and I just love it when this old person is talking, I get so much value from it. I call cap. The only reason that you're saying that is because you have respect for your elders, and I understand that. But respect for elders and knowledge, wisdom, and understanding in a digital age is two completely different things. Your elders did not have to deal with the ops. Your elders don't even know what the ops are. We know exactly what the ops are. Some of us are ops ourselves. So with this being said, you would be more wise if a 20-year-old guided you in this life that we're living today than a 65-year-old baby boomer with a college degree, a nice home, a nice car, and a nice lawn, nice well manicured lawn, because none of those things are going to be able to help you in this world that we're living in. You would need to know how to run and operate a Shopify store, right? Shameless plug. So shameless of a plug. You would have a better grip on your life if you could operate and run a Shopify store than it would be to, watch Netflix all day. Or whatever y'all doing or whatever we are doing in this time. ColumbianExchange.com is the website, by the way. You can visit that site anytime you want. It's free to visit. Free to look at the herbs and see what spirit that they correspond with, what energy they correspond with. That is actually free. Don't cost you no money to figure out what rose do, what peppermint do, things of that nature. I would say that a herb would be a better guide than your mama and daddy. Just pick a herb, peppermint, chamomile. Drink that herb for 21 days straight, and it'll give you more wisdom than your mama and daddy ever gave you. Not my mama hood, not my daddy hood, what a person would say. The purpose of this conversation, if you clicked on this video and if you have time to really sit and think about it and not hold no grudges against your mama and daddy, but just come to the full understanding that your parents do not possess the wisdom you are seeking. Very important. While your parents and others who arrived on your planet before you do help to provide a platform of stability for you, when you are born, they do not possess the wisdom that you are seeking. Your expansion will come from your personal experiences, and your knowledge will come from your connection to your soul. I said your knowledge will come from your connection to your soul. Let's extrapolate that a little bit. I don't even know what extrapolate mean, but it seemed like a good place to put the word extrapolate. So let's start to extrapolate what that actually means. How do you gain your knowledge from your soul, Hood? How am I going to do that? The first understanding that I would pray and I would hope and I would wish and I would, work at a truck stop, if y'all could understand that your thoughts are not your soul. Can y'all put that in the chat? I know it's not a huge chat. It's a few people in the chat, and I don't know if y'all sleep. I don't know if y'all awoke. I need to know that y'all are awoke, and if there's one person that can hear what I'm saying, I would greatly appreciate if you put in the chat, and if you listening to this video post live, put in the comments, your thoughts are not your soul. Because when we talk about wisdom, we're not talking about the shit that you're thinking about all day. Even though, walk with me now, we're utilizing the same process of cognizance, of inner awareness and inner sight. However, what we are actually looking at when we are peering within is not our thoughts, and then confusing our thoughts with what our soul wants us to do. This is a very key, clear understanding, and I just pray, hope, and wish. And if one person said, Hood, I really hear what you're saying, I would work at a truck stop, and y'all know what I would be doing at that truck stop. Y'all know what I would be doing at that truck stop. But that's how elated I would be if just one person could understand what I'm saying. Because I swear people will confuse their thoughts with wisdom. I know that people will confuse their thoughts with their soul. And to get to your soul, you got to completely remove the thoughts. And this is another way that when the shit gets thick, I mean, when the shit gets heavy and shit coming at you from all angles, and we just talking about financially, and then you find out your girl cheating on you with your brother, right? And your sister, and it's really fucking with you. And all you got to do is go to sleep because you got to wake up into work in the morning, but it's hard because it's a lot of shit going on. This is when we employ our skill or our tool of meditation, because at the same time, the deeper you go down the rabbit hole of your girlfriend having a threesome with your brother and your sister, the more angrier you become, the more cortisol your body begins to produce because you stressed out. At that point, where the image is playing in your head 1,000 times, this is when you begin to employ the tool of meditation, where you're in the space of no thought. You are in your inner dwelling. You are within yourself. You are within your vessel. You're in your house. You're in your home. You're in your apartment. You're in your vehicle, wherever you're at. You're in nature, but you're also within yourself. And you can't reflect on your family, your mother, your dad, your husband, your kids, your wife, your financial situation. You can't reflect on any of these things. The only thing you can reflect on is nothing at all. And from this point, this is where you can actually tap into wisdom. But when I say this is hard as fuck, when I say it ain't no amount of money you can pay a person to get to a point where you're able to perceive and listen to the nothingness and to begin to translate it and decode it and then integrate it into your everyday life. Oh man, this is the work. This is the work that, spiritualists would rather, charge you money to get you to that point. And I love shit. You know what I'm saying? I like to buy shit all the time. I don't think it's going to help me though. I'm not confused on that. I will buy some bullshit spiritual item. I just bought some shit yesterday. I bought me a tablecloth with a veve on it. Do it mean I'm more spiritual than you? No, I just think it's cool. I'm into that type of shit. Do it have some power? I think it do. A nigga walking past me might think it's just a fucking tablecloth. I'm working on some shit right now. And one of the things that I'm going to pull from what I'm actually working on is that magic is subjective. It's 100% subjective. So I can show you the tools, I can show you how to build, but it's up to you to build it, and it's up to you to say that it's built. Because if you build your own house and you comfortable in your own house, guess what I'm doing? I'm building my own house and I'm living in my own house. This is our spiritual responsibility. This is why I call it spiritual mansions. This is what we're here to build. And it's completely subjective. Does that mean we can't build from one another? No, that doesn't mean that. It means that the larger percentage of your spiritual equity and your spiritual toil and your spiritual understanding is not going to be reliant upon me because I'm talking about spiritual shit, or the next person because they talking about spiritual shit. This is not an Escape song. Why did Escape have a song called Who Can I Run To? When running to somebody is actually escaping from some shit. And I never thought about that till just now. Escape had a song called Who Can I Run To? That's some wild ass shit when you really think about it. But with that being said, spirituality is not an escape. And the reality about me is that I can show up every day and reference this spiritual stuff. And I have done that. Like, I just will show up every day and talk about spiritual things for the sake of spiritual things. I don't have no real dog in this fight. You can look at the videos from when I started this channel and it's just me sitting in my home, going live, either reading a book or going over my notes, sharing my information, and going about my life. I've been doing this shit for years. It don't make me special. It don't make me better. Spirituality to me is like porn. I just watch it to get off. Okay? I watch it to get off. So most of the guidance, rules, and laws that are passed down from generation to generation are written by people who are not in the state of allowing their connection to their soul. Most of the information, and this is why it's so confusing when you go into church and it don't make no sense. When your parents talk to you and it don't make no sense. You go into work and you talk to people, it don't make no sense. The more you connect to your soul, the more people don't understand you. One's in the chat, if people just don't get you, they don't get it, they don't understand what the fuck is happening, what's happening in your life. What's up with this change of mood and change of attitude? And all you can say is, man, I've been connecting to myself. And I want to give y'all something that I feel like is very important to have. You can't give that to nobody else. They literally have to allow the connection to their soul to begin these positive changes to start taking place in their life, in their disposition. You could be married, you could be children, brother, sister, you could be young, you could be old. See, and we have to be very, very strong to connect to our soul, because when people are next to you or to the left of you and they are jealous of you and they want to use your energy for their betterment, let's go down this path. It does not feel good. So if you're not driving, if you're at your home, if you're just in a space where you can reflect on the moment in the day, what does not feel good in your life? These are people that are not connecting to their soul. They're connecting to you. And I'm going to tell you, it does not feel good. It does not feel good to get a percentage of 100% your shit. It does not feel good to have people tell you what and what not to do, what they don't want you to do. It does not feel good for a person to not match your energy. To whereas if you wanted to live a certain type of life, you're not able to live a certain type of life because that person would not want to connect to their soul. Don't understand what it means. Why can't a person understand what it means? We said this earlier, because when a person says, I'm going to connect to their soul, they don't. They connect to their thoughts. And your thoughts are not your soul. Your thoughts just show you everything that your soul isn't. So when you go within yourself, you got to go to that quiet place. Once again, hard as fuck. I'm going on record to say that's the hardest shit in the world, to find inner peace. Because it's so much shit going down in the LBC. It's kind of hard being Snoop D-O double G. One's in the chat. It's a lot of shit going on. So how the fuck you gonna have inner peace and you gonna be reflecting on the multitude of thoughts? The exam papers, the assignments at work, the responsibilities, what you gotta do in the morning, taxes, insurance, you name it. Reflecting on thoughts is futile within itself. So meditation is key, because meditation leads to non-thought, which leads to wisdom. This is how a person connects to their soul. This is how a person truly, truly knows, right? And once again, it's hard as fuck. So 10 times out of 10, if a person is not connecting to their soul, who are they connecting to? They are connecting to you. They are connecting to you. And it does not feel good when a person connects to you. What feels good when a person connects to their soul, and when they look in their soul, they see you and they say, I want to pour into this person that I see within myself. What feels good when a person says, I see myself when I see you. That what feels good. When a person says, I see you and what I could take advantage from you, what I could use you for. You know how your parents see you? Your parents see you only to the point that you do not embarrass them. That you do not embarrass them. Because once you embarrass your parents enough, they're going to disown your ass. And the only reason that your parents fuck with you is because you're a good little soldier. Okay? In other words, the majority of the guidance that is thrust upon you has come from a perspective of lack. And it does not matter if your parents were rich, if they do not have a connection to their soul, their perspective is from lack. And why are you talking so mad about my parents, Mystic? First of all, I'm speaking hypothetical. I'm speaking in a ways for which you could begin to utilize critical thinking. And so you could be more direct, as opposed to saying, their parents and their parents and their parents. I would want you to say my parents, and my connection to my parents is stronger than my connection to source. And that's a problem. I want you to say that. That's the purpose of this video. I want you to say, I'm way more connected to the guidance of my parents than I am to the guidance of my soul. And I need to change that, because trying to follow my parents' rules will have me out here smoking crack. Will have me out here selling a little bit of pussy. Not a lot of, some of y'all moms didn't sell a lot of pussy. She sold a little bit of pussy just to make it. And if you follow her guidance, guess what you're going to be doing in the future? Selling just a little bit of pussy, not a lot to be considered a prostitute, but just a little bit so you can get those bills paid on time. The majority of the guidance that is thrust upon you has come from a perspective of lack, and it cannot lead you to an improved situation. This is why the modalities and modes of your parents will have you in a fucking rinse cycle, wash cycle, repeat cycle. And when you say the things for which I want to change and better my life, and what do I need to do that? You need to stop doing the things that your mama and daddy did every single day through osmosis for which you're doing right now. So when you want to move into an improved situation, you're ready to release those things. So let's continue. Of course, there are things of the physical nature that you can learn from each other. There are many inventions and skills that have been discovered before your birth that you do not have to start from scratch in order to realize the benefit of. The benefit of. But there is a pervasive belief on your planet that is absolutely contradictory to who you really are and to reason and to your reason for being, which leads us to the next flawed premise. So I meant to put this up here. This was what we was talking about, but we about to go to our next flawed premise. But age is nothing but a number. Your parents is not your parents. Your parents is your parents to a certain degree, but once you become to a certain level of enlightenment, it's inconsequential who your mama and daddy is when it comes to your spiritual understanding. And if does that mean that you dislike your parents? Does that mean you hate your parents? No. But in reference to being conscious, in reference to being a spiritual being, see, some people use this shit to just take advantage of you and be like, all right, we spiritual beings, let me get all your money, right? But the reality is, like, this is your actual family. So I I personally will just come on here and talk to y'all because y'all my family. You understand the difference of, like, when you a family member, everything ain't to pimp you. Everything ain't to, you know what I'm saying? Like, you could, like, we family and y'all know this is what I do. We know Chris, that's what he do. You know what I'm saying? Philip, that's what he do. Everybody got their thing of what they do. That don't mean that if you family, it don't mean that I gotta promote what I'm selling to you. But it don't mean that I ain't gonna be who I am and like, oh, I'm doing this or I'm doing that. We family. I'm gonna tell you what I got going on type shit. So I'm saying all of this to say your spiritual family is motherfuckers that can just kick it with you on GP, right? What's not your spiritual family is every time they get in front of you, they promoting some shit or they trying to sell you some shit. That to me, once again, it don't feel good. Now, does it feel good to y'all? One's in the chat if it don't feel good to have a nigga always promoting some shit because he got a YouTube channel or whatever the fuck it may be, Instagram or a business. Like, I understand. Like, I understand motherfuckers gotta get money. But at the same time, if you telling me about your business, I just feel like you're not even here with me. Like, I feel like I can't even talk to you about shit. Like, if you trying to promote some shit all the time. Do that feel good to y'all? Let me know. Who I am began the day I was born into my physical body. This is a flawed premise, by the way. As an unworthy being, I was born into a life of struggle. In order to try to achieve greater worthiness. Who I am began the day I was born into my physical body. As an unworthy being, I was born into a life of struggle in order to try to achieve greater worthiness. This is a flawed premise. When we are talking spiritual beingness, we're talking about our existence previous to who we were when this is the point of it. So the reason why your mom and your daddy don't have authority over you like the way you think they do is because you existed before you were born. Can we get that in the chat? I existed before I was born. This is something that you must know. This is something that you must know. This is something that you must declare. This is something that you must express. This is something that you must understand. This is something that you must understand, overstand, to the left of you, to the right of you. Everything within your being must come to this realization. Before I was born, I existed. I need y'all to say this. I need y'all to express this. I need y'all to, because everything that I'm saying in this video should make sense after you come to this realization. You did not begin on the day you were born into your physical body. You are eternal consciousness with eternal history of becoming and of worthiness. You are worthy. You are worthy. At the soul level, you are worthy. You don't have to become worthy. You don't have to achieve worthiness through your material possessions. Through meditation and wisdom, you are everything in that moment. How could you not be? Right? And while a part of that worthy, non-physical, eternal God force, creative consciousness express itself into the being you know as you, Ashe. Let's get into this one more time. You are non-physical, eternal, God, goddess, force, energy, creative consciousness expressed into the being you know as you. The larger part of you remained and remains non-physically focused in pure, positive energy and absolute worthiness. So this means if you spent the last few nights at the truck stop, you wasn't even there making money. You was there for enjoyment. You was at the truck stop going crazy with the truckers, releasing the truckers, going from cabin to cabin, just tugging and rugging, tugging and rugging, tugging and rugging. Guess what? Non-physically focused in pure positive energy and absolute worthiness remained and remains. You eagerly came into this physical time-space reality because it is the leading edge of creation and you are a creator. You adored the idea of focusing on this world of contrast because you understood the value that contrast would have in helping you, a creator, focus and create. You understood that your own life would draw from you continued new ideas, and that by the power of your focus, those ideas could become reality, as it is known in the physical world. And you knew the joy of choosing, focusing, and allowing the creative manifestations. You knew that in every moment, you would be able to feel the degree of vibrational alignment you were achieving between your current thoughts and understanding that the source within you has the same subject at the same time. So this is the value of meditation too, because sometimes we think that our thoughts have power, right? The more that we think on a thing, the greater we will become at that thing. But the reality is the less we think about that thing, the greater we become. This is why things such as sleep on it. This is why things such as the subconscious mind exist, because we have a particular process of not thinking that is superior to actual thinking. May you find it now. May is it something that you do on a regular basis. to not worry about your problems, but to do something about your problems, right? To either take a nap, right? Or bring it into your subconscious mind by releasing it, meditating on it, and just moving on. And you understood that those feelings of positive and negative emotion would be the sole source of your guidance to help you create and discover and expand along your eternal path of becoming. So, with this being said, does it feel good? And if it feels good, keep going till you don't stop till you get enough, right? Keep going with how it goes. But in 2023, and doing this soul work and being in relationships with people that don't make you feel good, and I don't care if it's internet relationships, I don't care if it's personal relationships, business relationships, career relationships, one of the first things you're going to need to do is either be in relationships that feel good or be by your damn self to begin to not be in the fight or flight stress, because the stress, fight, or flight produces thoughts, and thoughts block you from wisdom. Thoughts block you from the soul. So at a certain point, one of the best things you could do is just be by yourself for as much as you can to allow wisdom to rise up, right? And you know, we are spiritual beings having this human experience, and I don't think that that gets enough light. And that's why I do this content, and that's why I do what I do, because it's like it just seems as though people refuse to acknowledge the psyche, so they're going psycho. Have y'all been noticing all of the weird shit that been happening in your area? All of the police sirens that been going off, all of the strange stories and the lovers quarrels, and people with narcissistic tendencies to where you think that they like you and love you, turns out they're just draining you of your energy. So it's a lot of weird shit happening in the world, whether you notice it or not. And the most important thing you can do is have wisdom and spiritual technology, which comes from quieting the mind and really focusing and really relaxing. And if a person is charging you up, whether it's your mama, your daddy, I mean, it could even be your kids at this point, to the point that you need to just go ahead and take them to their daddy's house. Take them to your mama's house, take them to your grandfather's house. You know, children, I'm not going to say boys, I'm going to just say children need positive male role models. And if the father is not available for whatever reason, that doesn't negate the fact that children need discipline and positive male role models. So at a certain point, it should be a responsibility or a force to, I didn't have, family or a dad per se, but my mom put me in basketball. She put me in Big Brother, Big Sister, and things of that nature, so I could learn from. And I just always seen male role models to kind of, give me the little guidance that I need, but at the same point, the lack of having a father eventually led to some situations that was really crazy, but really avoidable. You understand? So, uh, we have a certain level of needing to understand boundaries, not based upon them like being bad or being some place of like the boogeyman or no shit like that, but boundaries as if I do this, this will happen. And that's what fathers teach. So with that being said, uh and I'm not saying fathers, I'm saying men in general, and you should be able to discern and choose strong men that are capable and responsible, that actually want to help, that actually want to guide, that actually want to teach, and it don't have to be the father. That's the beautiful thing. So with all that being said, and I'm bringing this up so you personally as a mom can have that alone time, right? uh, Learning to leverage people in your life, so you could have that alone time is essential, right? So this is why one of the reasons that relationships are a benefit. Even if you can't stand that motherfucker, at least you have somebody that will allow you to have some space and time to yourself. So, with that being said, see you guys in the next video. Just wanted to have a good spiritual conversation and bring out some spiritual understanding, some spiritual truths. And just to review, those truths are because I'm older than you, I'm wiser than you, and therefore you should allow me to guide you. That is Caparoni and cheese. Flawed premise number 6. When I began the day, I was born into my physical body as an unworthy being. I was born into the life of struggle in order to try to achieve greater worthiness. That is also Caparoni and cheese. You are born worthy. You are born non physical. You are born eternal. You are born as God force energy, creative consciousness. You are pure positive energy and absolute worthiness. And may you find it by not fixating on your thoughts, but meditating, silencing your thoughts, and get into the wisdom of the soul. Once again, this is some very hard shit, but we got to be persistent in our practice and our understanding. So set aside some time today, 20 to an hour, to just simply meditate, or time to simply not think. And if you don't have no time to do that, hopefully you have an activity like washing clothes, cleaning the house, washing your ass, to whereas you can just do something and not think about it. And that would be, second best to actual meditating. So I hope y'all enjoyed. But make sure y'all follow me on Instagram to keep up with more of my content and other shit that I got going on. It's at the Hood Mystic. But if you don't know how to spell that or know how to pronounce that, just go ahead